Good evening. Welcome to the Palmer Town Council meeting on Monday, January 13th, 2025. Would everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Happy birthday.
Okay. So before we get to visitors' comments, we're going to have the swearing in of a new police officer. So Joshua Pease, please come forward, and Chief Burns, thank you.
This is Joshua Pease. He's been hired as a full-time police officer for the Palmer Police Department. He was previously a full-time Barrie police officer from April of 2022 until we hired him. Prior to that, he was a part-time officer in the town of Oakham from 2016 to 2022, and he currently holds a position of fire chief for Hardwick, Massachusetts as well, as a paid call volunteer. And Joshua is certified by the Massachusetts Post Commission and the Municipal Police Training Council, so he will not need the academy. He's fully trained and he's ready to go. So.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Joshua Pease,
Do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and that I will be faithful
and that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and bear true allegiance to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and support the Constitution and the laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and the laws thereof,
and that I will diligently, impartially discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as a police officer
as a police officer
according to the Constitution
according to the Constitution
and the laws of the Commonwealth.
and the laws of the Commonwealth.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you. So next we'll go to visitors' comments, and this is for any item that is not on the agenda. If anybody has any comments, you can come up to the microphone. Hi, if you wouldn't mind just stating your name and your address.
Sean Reynolds, 10 Brown
I
Street.
think it comes out of them.
And I was just looking to see if the council or the other town manager all had a status on the ambulance situation and the progression of it.
Yeah, I'll give a brief update in the town manager's report tonight.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
What was it about?
Ambulance.
Oh,
Are there any other visitors' comments? Seeing none, we will move on to the minutes for December 9th, 2024. Does anybody have any comments, changes?
I have none.
Okay, seeing none, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes for December 9th.
so moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions?
Abstention.
Okay, we still have a majority. Okay, now in old business, we have the second read for the wastewater treatment plant UV improvement loan at 640. So we're actually gonna just wait a couple of minutes to take up those items. Does anybody else have any other old business?
Sean, I obviously came and asked, as I was gonna ask about what was going on with the ambulance services and.
During the town manager,
The
during the town manager's report, I'll give a quick update.
Okay.
Excellent.
You want to go to new business?
Yep. For new business, we have acceptance of a $7,500 donation from the John Mullen Senior Family for fuel assistance. Community development. John, do you want to?
Sure. I just want to bring up that it's a generous donation from the John J. Mullen Sr. and Beatrice M. Mullen Family Charitable Foundation. This is the third year, I believe, they've done this. It's an amazing family. It's the Mullins and the Gablickis. And they've been doing this. We've helped, in the past, we've helped about 14 people with each donation families, I should say, that they've contributed towards. They've been in existence since 2001, and they're just a dedicated family to the community at large, and just want to commend them and hope you all do the same. Any questions?
They would go to the community development to apply for
Yes.
the fuel
And
system.
it's been an active few months here. It's,
Right.
with the opera money, we helped 86 families.
That's great.
And we already have another 4 families that we've assisted with the second tranche of money. And then this is just, there's a lot of need out there. People are hurting, and you've done amazing to bring to light this money and the availability. And
And it's the same requirements for this money as well as the ARPA as far as who qualifies.
yes, instead of like Valley Opportunity, their threshold for eligibility is 60% of median income. And the ARPA money is more towards the low income threshold, which is 80. So that's a difference of about $15,000 in income. So for one person, and it's amortized across the family size, but for one person, it's $61,350. The income would need to be below that.
Wow.
So
Wow. Well, I think oil prices have come down a little bit from last year, so hopefully that means that
Yeah.
the money is going a little bit further.
about $3.35 a gallon right now, and propane has come down too, which is the transportation cost is part and parcel of that change. So it's like $2.88, I believe, or $2.89. How do I know all this? Huh?
No, just to add on to that too, I'll touch on ARPA update, but we ended up having $30,000 available in surplus ARPA funding, so we reallocated it directly to fuel assistance again, and we locked in a price with a vendor. So it's a little bit reverse of how we did originally, where we'd reimburse the individual. Now we'll actually be not prepaid, but we locked in a guaranteed price of $30,000 worth of oil that we can draw down from as the need comes, so.
That's good.
Okay,
Good way.
excellent.
Nice, good job.
Okay, I would like to entertain a motion to accept the donation.
Make a motion. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Thank you again to this
Thank you.
family. And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and next we'll go to Resolution 2025-40, a transfer of $14,625 from General Fund Reserve to assessors' part-time salaries. And I think, can we just wrap this in with the Part C
B
too?
and C, exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
so another $14,625 from reserves to building inspector part-time salary.
Yep, and if you remember when we originally approved the budget, it included a full-time position that was both a data lister / local building inspector. We went through that process for 2 months. We interviewed one person that was the only qualified candidate. They decided not to take the job, so we decided to repost it with 2 split part-time positions. And we had 2 very good quality applicants for both, and we offered the position. They both accepted.
So
this
they're
is just
2 separate people?
2 separate people. now.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
And again, part-time, so no benefits to be paid.
yep.
Make a motion.
Okay, a motion to approve a transfer of $14,625 for the assessor's part-time salary. Matt makes a motion. Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And make a motion to approve a transfer of $14,625 from general fund reserve to the building inspector part-time salary. Have
I'll
a
make a
motion.
motion.
You have a motion, second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we're right
At
at 6:40. Time management. So we'll go back to old business for the loan authorization. There's 2 loan authorizations for wastewater treatment plant. We have the UV improvements and dewatering improvements, and this is the public hearing and the second read. Mark?
Okay. Just make this part right. Okay, December 9, 2024 loan authorization 2025-01, a bond order authorizing the borrowing of funds to pay costs of designing and making ultraviolet wastewater treatment facility improvements at the wastewater treatment plant. Be it ordered by the town council of the town of Palmer as follows. Resolved that the town appropriates $2,720,000 to pay costs for designing and making ultraviolet wastewater treatment facility improvements at the wastewater treatment plant, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto. That to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the town manager, is authorized to borrow said amount under GLC 44, subsection 7-1, or pursuant to any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds or notes of the town thereafter. All or any portions of the amount authorized to be borrowed by this order may be obtained through the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust, the trust, and in regard to the town manager and any other appropriate officials of the town are authorized to execute any and all arrangements that may be required to obtain financial assistance through the trust. The amount authorized to be borrowed by this order shall be reduced to the extent of funds contributed to this project by the town of Munson, as well as any of the amounts or grants, gifts received by the town on account of this project.
Okay, thank you. And that is for the ultraviolet improvements. I'm going to open the public hearing at 6:42. If anybody has any comments, now is your time. Does anybody on the council have comments, questions?
I have a quick question, and there isn't anybody here from Time Bond to answer, probably. The question I have is that this UV system will be used to replace the chlorine gas that we're buying. Will the cost of the added cost of electricity for the UV offset the cost of the chlorine that we're purchasing?
It's a fair question. I don't know. Matt, did we look into that? Do you know? Or
No, but I can. I'll follow up.
Sounds good. Just, I mean, I know that we're doing an update, it's gonna be cleaner for the environment, safer for the employees, but if it costs us another $100,000 a year to run it because we're using a ton more electricity, then I'm just kinda curious.
They may have already, I just don't want to give you an answer.
No, I didn't hear any of that come out, I'm just kinda curious.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:43 p.m. And next month, we will vote on the loan authorization. And so moving on to the next.
Okay, the next one,
Yep.
loan authorization 2025-02, bond order authorizing the borrowing of additional funds to pay costs of designing and reconstructing sludge dewatering facilities at the wastewater treatment plant, be it ordered by the town council of the town of Palmer as follows. Resolved that the town appropriates $273,500 to pay additional costs of design and reconstructing sludge dewatering facilities at the wastewater treatment plant, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto, which amount shall be expended in addition to the $2,225,000 previously appropriated for this project. And everything else is the same as the other one.
Excellent, thank you. So we will open this public hearing at 6:44 p.m. Does anybody on the council have any questions, comments? Anybody? Anybody in the audience? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing at 6:44 p.m. We will go back to new business.
We're on school
So,
ban.
yep, so we are now on resolution 2025-42, the transfer of the balance from the school ban stabilization fund to the capital improvement stabilization fund effective February 1st, 2025. Brad?
Yeah, so dating back, when we were going through the financial policies, we found the school construction bond that was approved, that was originally supposed to be for the final debt payment for funds that were taken out for renovation projects on all three schools, actually. Come to find out, that funding source was not actually used to close out that payment, so this balance just sits on the books right now. What we're requesting is to remove that, transfer it to the capital stabilization fund. It'll serve the same purpose. It just doesn't make sense to have the old money sitting there for the sole purpose for the 3 existing buildings. I mean, think about it now, we've now eliminated one of the buildings, we're down to 2. The purpose of that capital stabilization fund serves the same purpose that the school one does. So it just makes sense to close out one because we already have one existing, and it's a catch-all for anything similar of nature for capital that we have.
Excellent. And what's the balance today?
School stabilization, I think it was close to 400,000.
Okay.
And why we didn't put a number on that is we want it to accrue interest through
Right.
February, and then
Yep.
we'll transfer it out.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you.
Through
January,
yeah, sorry.
yeah.
Yep.
Excellent, thank you. So I will make a motion to approve a balance transfer from school ban stabilization account to the capital improvement stabilization account effective February 1st, 2025.
Second.
A motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. And last on new business, oh, nope, second to last. We have our financial policies review from Gabriella Potter, our town accountant, and Brad Brothers, the town manager.
So one thing when I started last April, I know this was one thing that was high on the council's priority list, is to have financial policies solidified. So what Gabrielle and I did was we looked through a couple of local communities. I also brought in Plymouth that had established, and also we looked at guidelines from DLS that gave us in 2017. And we went through everything, took what we felt was best practice, and put it into place for what fits Palmer. So I'll turn it over to Gabriella to go through the highlights of it. But again, today is just a review. We'll vote on the official policy come February.
So I wrote up a short summary of what this is, so hope you don't mind if I read it.
Go for it.
Okay, so the policies you have in front of you were developed to serve as guidelines and a point of reference when making financial decisions or developing long-term plans. Currently, and the previous years, we use recommendations developed by the Department of Local Services as part of the Compact Communities program back in 2017. We thought it is important to have an updated, clear, and concise document specific to Palmer's current needs. It is an important and useful tool when preparing annual budgets and capital plans, but also when facing unforeseen situations or emergencies requiring substantial amount of money. These policies will also help with prioritizing projects based on the financial conditions of the town. Most of the policies are similar to what you might see in other towns, as Brad said before. They list the types of reserve funds, their purposes and uses. This defines what is free cash and its use. The current reserve funds we have in town are General Stabilization Fund, Capital Improvement Stabilization Fund, Duke Track Stabilization Fund, Free Cash, General Fund Reserve Fund, and OPEB Trust Fund. The policies also touch up on funding of operations of the wastewater treatment plant and its reserves, which is sewer surplus. A new initiative included in the policies is to set aside funds freed up from paying off a loan and reserving them to have available when a new borrowing is needed. For example, if a loan is paid off in fiscal 25, the money that would have been needed if we were still paying it in fiscal 26 will be included in the budget, but in the general fund reserve instead of debt service.
Excuse me, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
On that there, would it not just, because that's, would that not just go away? Because you've paid off the loan, you're actually charging for another year on that loan?
So I think it's
So
debt
kind of what happened with
compared
this-
to debt service, yeah.
You're talking about a debt exclusion. So an exclusion is put outside of the tax rate, and then, but we also have debt within the general budget. That is just a part of our,
annual
Right, but
budget.
once that debt's gone,
That, there's two debts though, there's debt that's part of the levy and debt that's not part of the levy.
Okay.
The debt that's not part of the levy, that's like the town all, we voted for, different things.
override,
It o-
whatever.
Like, yeah, exactly, debt exclusion, that disappears, that doesn't get added on, but the levy is always the levy. That
Right.
if there's money that decreases due to debt, that's no longer needed. What we don't wanna do is we don't wanna then absorb it in our operating budgets, because when we need to borrow again for something else, then there's no money available. So it holds us accountable to make sure that we have available money for borrowing when needed in the levy.
Okay. I guess my thought was that the levy would go down, but I see you're,
The levy would never go down. The council may choose not to tax to the levy, but the levy would always go up 2.5, let's say.
Yep.
but you could theoretically not make it go up 2.5.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The capital planning and debt service management guidelines in the policies address the approach to short-term capital needs as well as long-term outlook. The appendix at the end of the document is a quick summary of the town's reserve accounts, their types, uses, and recommended balances in relation to the operating budget or minimum annual contributions.
So guys, if you guys want to submit any feedback, we'll certainly be available to answer any questions in February, but we'll put a draft of this up on our website as well for the public, if anyone wants to take a look at it and let us know if you have any feedback. But
Provided a copy to everyone in the council.
Yeah, thank you.
reference.
This, I took the time to look through them. I haven't gone as in detail as I will over the next couple of weeks, but I think that they look very well done so far. So the work that you guys put into this is evident, and I'm really excited to see policies in place and that we will be prudent in following them.
Awesome. Thank you.
Does anybody have any other comments or questions? Okay, so there's no need for a vote on that. So our next item on new business is the ARPA update. Brad?
Yep, and again, I'll just highlight a few of our major projects that were funded, along with some of the changes that happened at the last couple days of the available December 31st cutoff date. So just a reminder, there was $3.6 million allocated to the town of Palmer for ARPA. The two major projects that consumed over $2 million of this was Duke Track construction was $1.3 million. And then, of course, unfortunately, the Palmer Road sinkhole repair was just over $850,000. Again, so those two numbers took up a large majority of that funding that was available. The one thing I mentioned previously was the $30,000 that we moved for fuel assistance to pre-buy. So that's one highlight that changed in the last meeting. The DPW facility feasibility study, there actually ended up not being a charge to that. So they did a quick review. There's two sites on the Leaf Pit side of Burley Park that are that fits the square footage and the need for the facility. The question now is we need to do more research in the deed to see if there's a restriction on what we can put in, because it depends on what it was donated under and what was called out in the deed. There's been speculation that it's whatever acreage you use for something outside of recreation then has to be purchased and put into recreation. But again, we need to do more research on that. But a good positive thing that we know that site is feasible for a DPW complex. So that's a win, I think, in that regard.
Well,
So
If
if
you-
it was designated for recreational, you're saying, what?
If
what's
we
it,
took up-
2 acre lot, you would have to obtain another 2
We'd have
acre
to,
lot
exactly,
somewhere.
specific to recreation. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
what was the scope of the project and the deliverable for them to not charge us anything? And who's
At
they?
the Leaf Pit.
It was VHB.
Okay.
And when they got through fairly quickly, they realized that there was nothing wrong with the site and that they would give it pro bono.
Okay, so it was just site feasibility and not necessarily needs, like what the
Correct.
building.
There was, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The scope of that piece of that project was very minimal for design anyway. So that'll have to be brought up if we are to move forward, but
Okay.
I think we're not sure where the funding for that is ever gonna come from right now, so.
Okay.
Long-term planning.
Yep.
Also to highlight, the Milltown Animal Control, the flooring, the epoxy work had started this week, so I'd like to get the council a tour of that once it's finished to get a good feel of the Milltown Regional. PHS, they had funds approved for caulking. When they went to get 3 quotes, what they found out from all 3 vendors was the solution was not guaranteed. So they felt it was not in the best interest to spend that money in that regard, so they rescinded that, and we were able to move that around through other projects.
What was that for?
Caulking. Caulking around, I think it was the windows. It was determined that it was a potential fix, but it wasn't guaranteed. And they felt like they did not want to move forward spending that money if it wouldn't create a permanent solution that they were guaranteed.
So what solution are they?
Yeah, what's the
dreaming?
problem?
Yeah, what's the?
Yeah.
We didn't get the problem here.
We'll get more. We'll get
Alright,
more info.
yeah.
We'll have a joint
Well,
meeting.
we had money, and then
Right.
it started leaking, and they wanted to fix the leak, but now they don't want to fix the leak.
Because it's not.
Yeah, the superintendent can give us much more detail on what the.
Yeah,
details
we're
are.
only getting half the story, so I'm just kind of curious what the other half of the story is.
No, but again, at least.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second.
Lit up at the
But at
same time.
don't forget, that's, I mean, this is exactly why we had the council approve surplus money, because if something like this came up, we
Right.
spent it, so it wasn't like it was money out the door, we were able to reutilize it.
Right.
What else to highlight? And also too, the other, potential project was the Parks mower, that we had funding as well, that we fully funded, so that got moved forward. And that was it for major highlights.
So we purchased our vehicle.
Purchased the vehicle.
When do we get that?
Lead time on that, I believe, was 3 months,
We
3 to 4 months.
It's been a while since we've seen an inventory report from the DPW. Can you get that together for us, or have Matt get that together for us?
For vehicles?
For inventory, as in like vehicle/equipment,
Yeah.
like the big stuff.
Yeah.
Please.
When is
Not
the?
too long
I'm
ago.
sorry.
I could have sworn we
We
just
did.
purchased a mower, a special mower for hills and all that. But I'm just kind
That
of
was for
curious.
cemetery.
For the cemetery.
No, I get it, but DPW is DPW, so right.
Well, are we gonna have a formal capital plan this budget season? Okay.
Yeah,
So
probably
I think the
February.
inventory will be a part of that,
Yep.
I would assume.
Yeah, I'm just curious if we can start putting it together. I know it's not going to get done overnight, so yeah.
When was the work to move the chargers, the car chargers?
So, it's still to be determined. They cannot put it in the original location we thought of in the corner over here, due to the power source needing to run. So their new proposal, was the island closest to where the PD is, but then they have to cut through the sidewalk and then into the parking lot itself. So I'm trying to find another alternative location for that.
The EV charger?
Yeah, the one that we have now that has 2 units on it.
Yep.
We're gonna pull that out and we're gonna put 2 new units that'll fit 4 vehicles.
Are we doing that with a green community grant? Because that's what we got it.
It's not Green Communities, but the state was running another program, so it's free to
Oh,
us.
okay,
Yeah.
got it.
What if you just rotated it from where they are to the parking lot that way?
That's what we're looking
Okay.
at, yep. Yep, because again, the negative on it is the 2 chargers, actually, they take up, the pedestrian walkway, and that's why I didn't want them over here, because actually they'd have to recut the walkway, and if you were in a wheelchair, let's say, you'd have to cut over and then get back in, rather than a straight shot. So I said that was not,
Yeah.
there's a better solution than that to be had.
That makes sense.
And this is only affecting the ones here at Town Hall, not the ones at the library, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
The
Are they going to
library.
get upgraded
We
eventually? or-
looked at it, doing the library with this upgrade, and unfortunately, the power source doesn't fit what the level 2 chargers need to, for juice.
Gotcha.
And where'd we land with the conservation stuff, the pocket parks?
We rescinded a little bit of money on that, and we signed a quote for just under 9,000 for a vendor. They're gonna work with us to highlight all different areas in the town, and with that, we'll then have capital requests that come up, or free cash, let's say, to request additional upgrades to various parts of town. And then the other 5,000 we put aside was for, we signed a deal with 5 Star Gardens, I believe, for a pollinator garden.
Would that have been something that Pathfinder Horticulture could have done?
I'm working with Pathfinder right now on doing a rain garden over here, because
Okay.
my only one, I guess that's a stormwater management plan requirement that we need. So they'll hopefully be able to put one in over here, because you see there's like the large area that fits. And then also too, I was working with the superintendent on giving us a proposal of the green space right out here. It's vacant, right? That's a nice area that it's just taking up space right now, right? That could be utilized for something better. So I'm hopeful they'll survey the community on what could go there, and they come back with a proposal to us of what they feel could go there. And it obviously be a capital request, but again, to me, it's a nice space that is just sitting there that has no use right now, that we could reutilize it, repurpose it.
Like picnic tables, maybe?
I think anything is better than what it has now, but I thought it'd be a good project for them to actually ask the community of what could you utilize and put there.
Yeah.
Where exactly? I'm not.
The green, like right out here. So if you were to walk out where
Oh,
the
where
train
the Boy
tracks run,
Scouts did the.
Yeah,
little
the little-
thing
Behind that,
behind that.
Behind the parking lot
there's
itself.
that big green
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, again, it's just a vacant parcel right now that could be utilized for something that, I think let them survey the community and see what
Right.
they recommend.
Little BMX track.
I heard dog park possibly. Hey, I mean, but again, that's all stuff that we can
Yeah.
get the feedback on and see what they propose.
Gotcha.
Okay. Anything else on that?
Nope, that was it.
Great.
Nope, he's missing the ambulance stuff.
Well, that's gonna be in his town manager's report,
Oh,
which
I'm
is,
sorry, I thought-
we're almost there.
I don't know why I
Almost
thought that's
there.
where we were. Sorry.
Yeah. So up next, we have, subcommittee reports. Anyone?
That was ARPA.
Okay. So seeing none, now we are at the town manager's report.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine though. One piece I will say, the Recreation Committee, which this kind of ties into subcommittee reports. The Recreation Committee met last week and they prioritized a list of what they felt the highest needs are for the community. So in conjunction with them, I'm working on updating possibly the job description. The goal will be to go out for early February for post interview, mid to late February, offer the position for around March 1st, and then hopefully have someone start April 1st. So more to come on that, but that's the estimated timeline right now.
Real quick question on that.
Yeah.
The rec committee, when you put that together, I'm not sure what you instructed them, what their job title was. I wasn't here for that meeting, but I'm just kind of curious. I'm hoping that it has something to do with the report that we did, the town-wide.
Open space.
No, the master plan.
Oh,
That I'm hoping that the rec, is following some of the guidance from the master plan that we put together, so that.
So the chair of the master plan committee is the chair of the recreation committee.
Oh, perfect. Nice.
So it all ties in.
So it all ties in.
Yeah.
Perfect. Sounds good.
One guy, two
Well, if
hats.
it's not, we know how to play.
Yeah, exactly.
oh,
All right.
excellent.
So for other updates, the Mass DOT has updated the Compass Rail website. We will post a link on our webpage in addition to sharing it on the town social media page. The biggest highlight out of all of this is the Wilbraham site has officially been removed from the remaining feasibility sites, or feasible sites, I should say. So that was, I know, one big catch with the public of why Wilbraham. That site is officially off the table moving forward. There's been a lot of traffic here at Town Hall over the last week regarding property bills. We have provided a few different resources on our social media pages in addition to our websites to help residents better understand their tax bills. And one thing I'm committed to is moving forward is when we build FY26, we will include much more detail, including pie charts and breakdowns really of where tax money is spent. That was one question that my office fielded quite a bit on is, well, all these tax assessments, where's my money going? So I sourced them to the budget document, right? But at the same time, it'd be nice to put more of a summary page together that someone can just quickly read rather than go through our budget line by line and guess which each bucket everything falls in. So Gabrielle and myself will work on that when we go through the budget of, again, building out a better push out and a better build of FY26 so people understand really all the breakdown of where all the funding goes. Any questions on that?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I was on that site yesterday looking over the budget for this fiscal year. And it's not very easy to understand. You know, like on that site there was something shaded in green.
So,
Which-
yeah, no, and that's where we can do a better job of creating a summary chart, and it can put, not only will it have it in a pie chart, but it'll also give a breakdown in Excel format that's much easier to read. So we acknowledge that. Yep, and again, we can do a better job on it.
Next year, we'll have a GFOA approved budget.
I don't know about that, but we'll do our best.
What?
We'll have an award-winning budget document.
It'll be better than what it was
Unless
last year.
taxes go down, it won't.
And then speaking of budget,
Oh,
FY.
we have another
Can
question.
I just ask it? I saw the budget and I saw it come up and I just didn't have the time to deal with that whole focus of it. I was just wondering, is there a line on there that shows the profit from the pot shops in town now that they've been established most of them for over a year.
So we don't give a fine line detailed breakdown on that, but that is part of our revenue schedule that we build out every year, and that certainly is a number that's growing. I believe to date, we took in $80,000 through 2 quarters. So, and that's up from the original $40,000 that we had budgeted, because again, as the shops add on here, we'll start generating more revenue to the town. But
So
that
it's
is
not
included.
It's not actually a line item.
It's lumped into local receipts.
Okay,
You would have to ask for it to be separated somehow.
Yeah.
Just like I'm glad you brought this up, because now it reminded me to also ask along with the pot shops, the solar fields and stuff, we should be getting funds from there, which I think, other than just people saying, where's my money going to, is like, why so much when this question that she just brought up, the pot shops are bringing revenue in, they're seeing all these solar fields that are supposed to be bringing revenue in, why then indeed does the taxes on the individuals keep going up if you're gaining all this revenue? I think is more of the question that people are asking.
The sheet we have it shows all our revenue breakdowns that we can publish that as well. Again, it's never been done that way going forward, but again, I'm committed to doing things better here, and that's something we can definitely do. But it's not like we're
better this year or better next year?
there's no way to revamp everything for FY25. It'll all be outlined better in FY26. If you have specific questions, you definitely can ask the accounting department on where we are with revenues.
Right.
And we can give you original projections, but the actual list out will be better in FY26.
Okay.
Where do those revenues go? Do they just go into a general fund?
Yep. So it's our local receipts, state aid, and local receipts include the personal property, real estate. All of that goes in to fund our overall pie of the budget.
So none of that is line item?
Right.
It's everything we have is line itemed. But when you consolidate them down, your 2 main core things we have for funding are state aid and local receipts. That goes to pay the entire town budget.
It wasn't allocated. I think that's your question, right? So when the marijuana, we talked about that when we did the marijuana thing and we did all the bylaws and everything like that. We specifically did not attach it to a specific item to spend on it.
Right.
So that we did not have to tie our hands in specifically spending that money in one area.
But it doesn't even need, I'm not thinking about where it is even going. I'm just thinking how
Just
much.
wants to know how much
It's
is it.
not a line item. It's not something that you're gonna look in the budget and see that you collected so much from the pot plants and so much from solar fields and just, what's another one that just,
Motor vehicle.
excise tax. Excise tax that's
Excise
supposed
is
to
a
be
big
used
one.
for the roads, that just automatically goes into the general fund.
Yep, all that.
Meals tax.
Meals tax.
That's all considered local receipts.
Right, which
So it
I
all
think,
gets,
I agree with you. I mean, I would love to see, because like excise tax, that's supposed to be utilized for your roads and this and that. That's how it was created.
It would just be nice if it was broken
If
down.
you're right, if you could see what was brought in from that and,
Because people are always online this and that.
Right,
bitching
exactly.
About this, but I think if they could see the revenue that these places are generating, maybe you could turn it into a positive.
yeah. And I think that those are all assets that could be included in a really well-done budget document, which unfortunately we just have not seen in our community. So, but I know Brad comes from communities where they do good budget documents, and I look forward to adopting that practice here as well.
it's starting up already this season,
Right.
budget season.
Yeah, that's my next note actually. But again, we can definitely do a better job on that. We will do a better job on that going forward. But all of that information exists. It just has never been pushed to the public for public availability. But we can certainly do that.
I'm a firm believer in transparency.
I am
So,
too.
right, and the council here is all in the same belief that there's nothing to hide.
Right.
Just
but if
people
it's
don't
not
ask.
exposed, it
Right,
looks like it's
exactly.
being hid.
Correct.
Giving all our secrets away, Matt. We'll do better. We can definitely do better on that. So FY26, the budget process has started, and I anticipate an update at the February meeting along with the FY26 capital improvement plan proposal. So I'll take care of 2 birds with 1 stone. I will say preliminary numbers are not great, but I'm hopeful to have state aid numbers, and hopefully we see a sizable increase, which we should have by the end of January. So once we get those, I think we'll feel a little bit more comfortable of putting out a public number of where we stand. All right. And then the last one is ambulance service. This again is just a quick update. I have multiple proposals that are still under review. This is not an easy task. There's a lot of different components to this that have to be worked through. So my feeling is we probably will need to schedule a special meeting prior to our meeting in February. I would like to bring whoever I do recommend forward to come answer questions to the council, answer questions to the public. But I will say that every proposal I have to date will have a financial impact to the FY26 budget, because that's the biggest piece here, is we have to remember Palmer Ambulance did this at zero cost to us. Yes, we offered dispatch them for free, but they provided the service for free. Every quote I have is a minimum, I won't even put a number out there right now, but it is gonna come at a significant impact to our budget, because again, we've always had zero expense on there now. Now we will have a number.
Are you taking into consideration the fact that Palmer Ambulance, or Palmer Fire Ambulance, I should say, is attempting to, or is currently lifting the heavy lift right now in town?
I am.
And that they should be an option, if anything, to continue doing what they're doing?
Working very closely with Chief Burnett. He's been part of every proposal meeting that I've had.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 'cause I was asked the same thing, you know, they're trying to jump through the proper hoops to be that person that takes care of the town. You know, what you're doing now with all the other quotes and everything, is this, I guess the question I would ask, is this, you know, until they get to that maybe spot sometime, just
That's
to make
the-
sure that we have the coverage that we need?
So, and that's the tough part on here, right? Is,
Right.
again, I don't want to put an exact number out there for months needed for Palmer Fire to get ALS
Oh, yeah.
certified, but it's impossible to find a vendor that'll come open up shop in Palmer for 6 months if that's the
Right.
magic number.
Knowing that they're gonna get tossed out.
Exactly. So it's a fine line. I'm trying to work it all out, massage it all out to the best interest of everyone. But the bottom line is, I think, hearing from the council members individually, I think we need an ALS solution sooner rather than later. But what the impact of that is to Palmer Fire, I'm trying to work that all out behind the scenes right now.
Yeah, we can't bring in a contract place that's gonna cap them, cut them off at the knees to not grow either.
That's what I mean, right.
That's stupid.
But I can just say, finding someone to offer ALS to come to Palmer, I don't think anyone's willing to sign a 6-month contract. So again, it's all a balancing act right now, and I want to bring forward the best solution to the community that I feel is representative of what we need. So again, I'm working with Palmer Fire behind the scenes. I'm working with different vendors behind the scenes, but I want to bring a good product that puts us in a good spot to service the community.
Can we talk to other towns who went through the same process of
Of moving from contractor to in-house.
either contractor to in-house? But let's look at like, I don't know, like Long Meadow, Belchertown, Wilbraham,
Thinking.
Ludlow does.
Ludlow.
What
right.
Yeah.
I want to
But
see.
then this is another piece though too, right? The upfront cost to, it's a much shorter chase for upfront costs when you're talking with someone who's established. So that's the other factor that has to be weighed in.
No, I want to understand what process they went through to go from wherever they did to being, you know,
ALS certified?
or town. Not that we're doing this, but town run, or I'm sure the chief's doing the same thing, right? Finding out what he needs to do.
Chief Burnett is actually going through the process right now.
I understand that. I
yeah.
understand that. But I'm sure towns didn't bring in
A private.
a private place to support.
Yeah, likely the any existing municipal ambulance service has probably existed for a long time.
The other thing too is that you have to remember is Palmer's super unique with 4 villages.
Yeah, I was just
I mean,
gonna
that's the
jump on
problem
that.
right now. And you have one village carrying the burden of the entire town. And unfortunately for the taxpayers of that village, I feel bad because they're actually taking their fire taxes are going into an ambulance service that is only servicing not only just their district, but every district in town.
Right.
So it almost makes sense to me to reach out to the other districts and see if they want to put any skin in the game and help. But yet we don't need 4 different ambulance services in town either.
No.
Right.
So there needs to be
Palmer's
something.
stepped up to the plate, and in my mind's eye, all right, all the other, and because we can't, you know, we don't control the water districts or the fire districts, that seeing what's going on, every village should be meeting with Palmer to try and make this be you know, we say we're all from the same town, well, let's show it and then step up every water department. As Thorndike, we buy our protection from Palmer to begin with every year. It's $100,000 or whatever it was. And, you know, the other two villages have their fire protection, but, you know, obviously the ambulance part would be beneficial that every fire district adds in to make this so that we don't have to go out of town. You know, everyone else says, well, you promote within, this and that within. Well, now the time is here on the table. I'm talking to the public in the districts to get together, you know, to get these districts together to sit with Palmer and make it become something that you can hang your hat up and say, hey, look, we did this together. We take care of our own people.
Yeah, no, that honestly, that option is still on the table. I'm not saying it's not. I'm reviewing everything right now and working with the fire
But
chief to figure out.
I heard
best
the
proposal.
same thing he said, you know, that Palmer's carrying up the whole weight and the other villages that need to step up to the plate.
And that's the biggest cost component to this, right? Is to get ALS certified. There's a significant capital investment behind that all has to be worked out and factored in as well. So there's a lot of moving parts to this.
It's budget season for everybody, so just remember that. So if it's something that's gonna go down to the district level too, then the districts are in their budget season too. So if they need something to budgeted, now would be the time to talk to the districts and be like, hey, you know, we need to put something in the budget to help the ambulance service in town.
Maybe the council, or you as our representative, get something going between them all to sit down and.
We already are behind. We are.
Okay.
So it's going
Good
on.
job, bud. All right. Good.
The issue behind that though is that some, and I'm not gonna say that some districts aren't willing to cooperate, because I don't know the status. But it really comes down to the residents putting pressure on the districts, because the town doesn't have any control of districts, it's the residents.
Right.
So if the residents aren't being involved in the fire district and their water district, then shame on them, because there's a lot of capital projects going on right now that are going to increase water rates. The water quality is poor at best in some areas of town, and they should be involved, because it's going to affect your water bill, it's going to affect your tax bill for your fire tax. And I don't think that the residents in town are fully aware of how much that affects your tax rate, depending on what village you're in.
Right, and when they have a meeting, and it's just always the commissioners there and nobody from the.
Yeah, there's a
people,
lot of stuff
you
that
know,
slides through,
You'd be
right.
surprised what just transpires without, you know, they need to get involved. You really do. They need to get off the couch and go to your water department
No.
meetings and.
Townspeople don't realize that
Yeah.
you have nothing, no control or.
Yeah.
Right, and without, you know, you get 30 people that go to a water department meeting, as soon as them 30 people come in that door, every one of them commissioners, I guarantee you, what are they here for? What are they here? Why are these, why are they here? You know, you have a lot of power.
Excellent. Well, I think as unfortunate as
I'm sorry.
as unfortunate as it is that we were put in the situation to have to make
I
quick
think he's doing a good
decisions
job.
and quick transitions with the ambulance service, very thankful to Palmer Fire for all the work that they've done, and I'm thankful to Brad for the work that he's done, because at the end of the day, we're just concerned about getting Palmer residents the service that they deserve if they unfortunately need to make that call. So thank you, Brad. Is there anything else?
No, just Marlene will probably reach out individually to see if everyone's availability for a couple of dates in later in the month or early February.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Oh, yeah, that question, Thorndike School, what, has that been put out? What's transpired with the?
Thorndike School sold.
It's done.
Sold. We got 400,000 through auction for it 2 or 3 months ago now.
And it actually transpired, everything?
Everything went through. Yep.
Any
It's
idea what?
apartments? Apartments. Yep.
Has he started the permitting process?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Awesome. And Converse, I'm still waiting for it to be surveyed, because once it's surveyed, then I can put the RFP out. So.
Excellent.
I have
Thank
a
you.
question. Where did that $400,000 go?
It goes into a
General
reserve
fund.
account. It's that is only specific to, I think, purchasing future buildings or land for the town. Gabriella, correct? I don't think it closes out. We have to allocate that specific to a
So
future
based on the
purpose.
new guidance and laws that were passed, we have to set this money as a portion of it, but the rest of it will go into general fund.
General fund reserve though, or totally unreserved?
General fund available
Okay.
for spending.
That can go anywhere.
So it theoretically be put, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, aside for, say, DPW building, whatever.
Sounds like a pickleball court to me.
I'd much rather the DPW, but
Yeah, well,
I'm not into pickleball, but.
So counselors roundtable, anybody?
No.
No. I would just like to thank Mass DOT for coming out to the community last month to give the presentation on the Palmer Rail Station. I think that they did a really well done job with their presentation, and the breakout groups I think was a really productive way of getting feedback from the communities, or from the community, I should say. And I'm happy to hear that their website is up and that we're moving forward with getting that decision made, and hopefully, I think they said 2029 should be when the rail stop is open, and I very much look forward to that day as somebody who commutes to Boston for work once or twice a month. So that's all I have. And that concludes our open session. We will be adjourning after executive session. So I'd just like to take a roll call vote to enter into executive session, not to return to open session, pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, Number 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating positions of the public body, and the chair so declares. I so declare. For union negotiations for Palmer Police, Palmer Dispatch, and the DPW Administrative Unit. I make a motion.
Second.
We have a second, and this is roll call. Mark?
Aye.
I vote yes. Phil?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes, good night,
Yes.
Janice.
Thank you, everyone.